Hi Cardinals, good to be with you today. I hope you're having a good day. I am having a really good one. I've got a project to share with you that I hope you'll really like. The name of our project is The Power of Pattern, Draw Like Dürer. Albrecht Dürer was a very accomplished artist. I want to share with you one of his artworks that we're going to be inspired by today. It's in this art book from my home. This is a book called A Year in Art. Here's the page with our Dürer art. This artwork is titled Rhinoceros. The date 1515. Let's look at it for a moment and see what you notice. What do you think of his work called The Rhinoceros? Do you think he did a good job? I think it's pretty fantastic. Here's another version of it, another printout. And I want to share with you a little of the story of this artwork. Dürer lived about the same time as Leonardo. And Leonardo da Vinci was one of Dürer's big heroes in art. So he tried to follow Leonardo's example in his art. Well, Leonardo was a big believer in observing nature closely, and so was Albrecht Dürer. He believed in observing and working from nature. However, in the case of the rhinoceros artwork, Dürer lived way back in 1515, in the 1500s. So he did not have access to a camera. He didn't go to the zoo. There wasn't an opportunity for Dürer to see a real rhinoceros. However, Dürer was in contact with an explorer who had seen the rhinoceros in the wild. So this explorer had done a very brief little sketch. Dürer got to see the little drawing. There was not much detail on the drawing. However, there was a long written description by the explorer of the things that he had seen and the rhinoceros. So Dürer read carefully the description about the rhinoceros. And from that reading, plus the little drawing, he was able to do this art. What do you think about his work? Pretty great. I think so too. We're going to be inspired by this artist, Dürer, today. When we go to work today on our project, we're going to use this art to inspire us. I've done a couple of artworks representing the power of pattern and trying to be like Dürer a little bit. Here's one of mine where I decided to do an homage to Dürer and to use his same animal, the rhino, and even some of his same patterns. You know, pattern is our art word that means repetition. When we repeat something, it might be shapes or lines or some combination, but whenever we repeat something, we're using pattern. So I enjoyed the rhino so much, I decided to do another drawing, this time a turtle. So I looked at a picture from the internet to get some information to use as a reference. I wanted to look carefully at the shape of the turtle shell and these sections of turtle shell. I wanted to look at the size of the head and the feet and the shell and see how it compares. So I had a really good time doing this drawing as well. Well, let's see what we can do about making this a project. We are going to need only a few simple materials. To do this drawing, you really just need a pencil and some kind of pen. Could be just a regular drawing pen, writing pen, or you can use a Sharpie. I had a fine point Sharpie I used, and you can use just regular copy paper. So feel free to take a moment, gather your supplies, be ready to really, really focus. When you're ready, let's go over our process. Step 1, look at Durer's rhinoceros. Now we've already done step 1. We've spent a little time looking, and as you work, you can spend as long as you want looking at the art and really observing it. The next step is to try out patterns and to do a warm-up. We want to try some line patterns and some shape patterns. So on a piece of copy paper, we'll just do a little warm-up with our Sharpie or whatever we're going to use. We'll try some line patterns, just like we saw in the Dürer. There were some little short lines, longer lines. On this one, you can see when the lines are close together, it's a little darker, and then it can get lighter. You might want to try curvy lines, close together, carefully following the same kind of curve. You may want to try little shapes like circles or little rectangles. It's always fun to use spirals. I don't remember if Dürer used any spirals, but it's just a great pattern that a lot of people like. Here's a modified spiral idea. Here's some dots made with the Sharpie. Close together, darker, spread out, lighter. Here's some half circles. And here's one I want to mention. In the Dürer work, you'll see some cross-hatching. You'll see lines crossing over other lines. This is a little tricky, but it's fun to practice. So if you want to try it, I really encourage you to try it on your warm-up. You'll take your pen and you'll make some lines going one direction, maybe diagonal. Then you'll do another layer of lines going in a different direction, maybe diagonal the other way. And then you can just keep going. You can change direction again. You can go horizontal. So you see that the layers are just building up. And if you keep going, it can get darker. You can have a crosshatch with more layers, and you can have, it'll look darker. So the more and more layers, it'll look darker. So it's a fun thing to try. Even if you don't use it on this artwork, you can practice it and use it some other time in another artwork. All right, step 3, after we try out our patterns, step 3 is to make a sketch of an animal. So you'll decide if you want to use a rhinoceros and make it an homage to Dürer's rhinoceros like this, or would you rather choose a different animal like I chose the turtle? That is totally up to you. You may not want to do a turtle, you may have another animal in mind. It's totally your choice. It could even be a giant insect or just a dragon. It could be an imaginary animal. Whatever you choose will be good. Step 4 is going to be the really good one. Use patterns to finish your art, to make it really exciting and to make it more like the Dürer art. So that's going to be the fun part. Let me back up to when we make our sketch of our animal. Let's pretend this was another drawing we're going to do. We want to make a light sketch first. You know, in the art room we sometimes say, draw light until it looks right. Well, this is a time to do that. We don't need to press down, we just need an outline. I encourage you also to look up a picture in a book or on the internet to get some good information on the shape of your animal, how big to make this body, what shape, how big the head should be, how long the legs should be. Do a little comparing of the parts of the body of your animal you choose so that your animal can be recognizable. Then comes the fun part with the patterns. So I encourage you to spend as much time as you want on this project, making it really special. If you're working really hard on patterns, like on this turtle, there's a lot of pattern. My hand started to get tired, so you may need to take a break. Move around, rest your fingers, and then come back to it a few minutes later. Another benefit of taking a break is when you take a step back from your art, look at it from a few feet away, you can figure out what part you need to work on next. It always helps to do that, step back from your work. Well, I enjoyed this project so much. I hope you do as well. I can't wait to see some of the results. If you would like to share your results with me, your finished products, feel free to share them at my email address up there, geverit@strichardschool.org. I can't wait to see the results. I want to give you 2 thumbs up. Thank you for working hard. Thank you for keeping on and keeping up your spirits and your cardinal pride. We miss you, and we look forward to more video lessons soon. So for now, I'll say goodbye and God bless.